Hey, what's up guys, it's Apollo Uchiha here, back with another part of What If Naruto Was Turned Into a Girl. And before I continue this, I have an announcement to make. I am going to be continuing this series till it stops because it is abandoned unfortunately. So I'm going to make an ending when it stops. So yeah, and as for What If Naruto Was Raised by the Sun, it will be uploaded today as well. So stay tuned for that as well. Yes, meaning today is a double upload. And if you haven't, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And without further ado, let's continue our story. Orochimaru, the snake Sanin, was standing before the pair of blondes. His smug look turned into concern as he barely managed to avoid Tsunade's fist strike that left a crater where he'd been. "Now, Tsunade, is that any way to greet an old friend of yours?" he said mockingly. Her answer growl was cut off as Naruto vaulted over her and spun in the air. Orochimaru had self-preservation skills and they saved him as the younger blonde hit the ground where he'd been with a heel drop, and he wondered if Tsunade had a daughter that he never knew about. "Your daughter, I presume?" he asked, getting matching growls from both blondes. "No, you damn bastard!" Naruto roared, but was kept from attacking as Tsunade put a restraining hand on her shoulder. Orochimaru studied the younger blonde. "I know you," he said. "You're that girl from the tuning exams that stopped my weapon." "Weapon? You mean Gaara?" Naruto blinked and then growled as she recalled how the Sarutobi had told her about Gaara's body, and how Naruto saw the results of it at the medical center. Tsunade's hand slipped and she watched as the younger blonde attacked. Orochimaru barely avoiding some of the blows, the near misses destroying the craters, stalls and buildings walls nearby. Orochimaru was shocked. This girl, who he was really thinking about and believing was Tsunade's daughter, was keeping him off balance. "Kabuto," he called, and Naruto managed to dodge and flipped backwards, avoiding the chakra scalpels that would have hit her spine and paralyzed her. "Hello," Kabuto said with a smile. "I don't believe we've met before, have we?" His kick was flipped that connected with his chin and his glasses went on the way while he cleared the horizon. Orochimaru watched as his second went flying. Definitely Tsunade's child, he wondered. He wasn't able to watch long as Tsunade was there and he was back to dodging again. "Lovely child you have, Hime. Tell me who her father was, and I might let her be for now," Orochimaru said, licking his lips at the thought of what a child of the powerful Tsunade could show in his experimentation. Tsunade's honey-colored eyes narrowed, and the killer intent she flooded the area with set the ground at her feet on fire with her evident rage. "You won't touch her!" The slug Sanin snarled and renewed her attack. Link break, hotel, and Naruto was leading her away on a rooftop chase, and that was the last time we saw either of them, Anko said as she was stretching out on the couch while Jiraiya looked worried and annoyed. "Master Jiraiya, I'm sure Lady Tsunade is fine," Shizune said with complete trust in her friend and mentor. "I'm sure you're right, Shizune," Jiraiya said as he looked out of the window. "I can't let them, or can't tell them that I've got reports of Orochimaru in the area from some of my spies. Itarashi will rush off and Shizune will panic. Damn it," he thought, and a moment later he felt very potent killer intent. "I know that chakra," he muttered, and Shizune was like a dog that heard the master whistle. "That's Lady Tsunade's. She's in trouble. Now, it could be nothing, I guess." Jiraiya said, holding up his hands. "Naruto must have played a prank on her, that's all," Jiraiya said. "This is not good. Tsunade wouldn't get this mad unless there was a reason," he thought. A moment later, even thicker rage was felt. "Naruto!" Anko and Sakura gasped, and before Jiraiya could say anything, the three women were out of the window. "Shit," he muttered. "Please don't let it be Orochimaru. Please let it be a prank gone bad. Kami-sama, please," the Totse thought as he gave the chase. Link break. Tsunade staggered back, trying to wipe the venom her former teammate had spit in her eyes. "You finally became a snake, huh, Orochimaru?" she said. Naruto was giving her time to counter the effects that Orochimaru had gotten in her eyes. Orochimaru laughed and managed to avoid Naruto again and again, but he was finding out that the blonde was very dangerous in close combat and used a mud clone and substitution to give himself some space between them, keeping her hidden all this time, and then switching her with the QB brat in the exam. "I must say, Tsunade, I didn't think you had it in you." "I'm not her daughter, you asshole!" Orochimaru again used a mud clone to avoid the fireball that the girl had sent at him, and then he was being swarmed by a dozen copies. Shadow clones. My, if you are not her daughter, then who are you? Not many people in Konoha are this strong. Naruto changed her fighting style, and Orochimaru found himself avoiding his own snake style of combat along with the style he'd never seen before. Tell me your name, girl, Orochimaru said, managing to destroy the clone. My name? You want to know my name? Naruto was in motion along with her clones, keeping Orochimaru off balance when the next set of clones managed to connect the pinballed him from one of the other with kicks and an uppercut that sent him into the air, where the original Naruto was waiting with a swirled ball of chakra. My name? You son of a bitch is Naruto Uzumaki, and until the Chunin exam I was the container of the Nine Tails. Until you fucked up and mixed the seal that were not to be mixed. I was a boy. Orochimaru couldn't blink as the Rasengan hit him full on and he rocketed towards the crown. I'm like this because of you, Naruto said, landing near the crater his body had created. But I must say thanks, as you did something no one else could do. You killed the QB. Naruto turned and walked back towards Tsunade, who was using a healing jutsu to clear her eyes of venom. Came from behind her. Before she could turn, Naruto was hoisted into the air with Orochimaru's tongue wrapped around her legs. Amazing, Orochimaru said, studying the upside-down blonde. A full genetic transformation, the Snake Sanin said as he gazed at her. Oh, I think I will enjoy studying you fully. And when I finish in the lab, I'll see how you'll handle breeding with several bloodlines. Orochimaru laughed even more, keeping well out of reach from the upside-down blonde, while the returned Kabuto, like an assassin, had returned and destroyed the shadow clones from behind. I might even let Kabuto here be your first. You are a virgin, aren't you? Naruto's eyes went cold and the area was flooded with Herculean intent, so potent it matched the QBs all those years ago. I'll kill you. And Orochimaru saw Naruto had transformed like she had in the forest when she was male. She had fangs, her whisker marks were deeper and redder. Her eyes were like the slits, and she had her wicked-looking claws. Orochimaru laughed. Orochimaru's laughter stopped as Naruto showed how flexible she was, bending up and grabbing his tongue that was around her ankles. Hey, Grandma Tsunade, she called out, and the older blonde blinked to see through her eyes, which were still blurry. What, Brad? You ever seen those fireworks snakes as they are consumed by fire? Naruto asked. Orochimaru's eyes widened as purple chakra erupted from the trapped blonde's hand and raced down his tongue. She got a grip on me. I can't escape, the Snake Sanin thought as he struggled to get away from his own trap and could only watch as the raw chakra raced down his tongue, leaving it smoked and blackened in its wake. Watch this, Naruto said as Orochimaru winced as not only was raw chakra racing towards him, but he found his arms pinned by a pair of clones that he didn't see until they grabbed him. He looked around wildly for Kabuto and found him on the ground with another clone stomping his testicles in. When did it go wrong? I need to get out of here, Orochimaru thought, and with no other choice he shed his body second before the chakra hit it and burned it into ash. Orochimaru landed several feet away, his eyes widened. Did the QB make her this strong? He thought as he watched the blonde trip away the remains of the tongues and dismissed the clones, except for the ones destroying Kabuto's manhood with relish and giving a lecture on how to treat women. Until you told me. Even now, I still see much of Tsunade in you, girl, Orochimaru said, keeping his distance and eye on the threat that he himself had made back in the second part of the exams. Too much of my data on the Kyuubi jerk is obsolete, and with Tsunade recovering, this is not going how I thought it would be. Not as easy as you thought, is it, you bastard? Naruto said, stepping between him and Tsunade and keeping the Snake Sanin focused on her. I will enjoy experimenting on you, regardless of this, Orochimaru said as he kept distance between him and the girl for now. How is she able to manipulate raw chakra? She's not even using hand signs. Is this form of a QB or something? Orochimaru had too many questions and not enough information. He thought about several minutes, leaving when several more people arrived. Two of them he knew he could handle. It was his former student and his former teammate that Orochimaru knew about. He had overstayed his welcome, he thought. Ah, uncle, how are you doing? He couldn't help pushing several buttons. Hoping to kill you, then throw a party. If you hold still, I promise your skull will be the centerpiece decoration in my house, Uncle said as she had two kunais in hands. And Jiraiya, still dead at last? Fuck you, Rochi. I'm going to do what Sensei should have done and remove you from the stain on his and our team's honor. Orochimaru laughed. Oh, this is far from over, but I do have other matters to attend to. Orochimaru focused his chakra to Shunshin away. Oh no, you don't. Naruto growled and she did something Orochimaru didn't expect. She flooded the area with raw chakra, overwhelming his Shunshin. You're not going anywhere. Your tracks end here, Orochimaru. Orochimaru did something he hadn't had to do in a very long time. He physically ran. What are you waiting for, pervert? A personal investigation? Get him! Naruto snarled. Jiraiya needed no further prompting and gave chase. Naruto waited until Orochimaru was out of sight when she went to her knees. The feral look faded slowly. Remind me not to do that again for some time, she said. Anko caught her even as Sakura moved to her. Shizune, the brunette, looked at her mother. Check on her first. Anko, she called. The Jonin was reluctant to leave the blonde, but the command tone the slug Sanin had forced her to look up. Bind Kabuto. Naruto took him out. Tsunade thought about having her kill the stooge, but he had information. If he really was Orochimaru's number 1 or number 2. Anko looked to see Orochimaru's second was curled into a fetal position. She knew her sister had done a number as the silver-haired double agent could only whimper as she placed chakra binders on him and bound his hands, legs, and fingers. For good measures, she placed a blindfold and gag on the traitor. When she turned back, she saw that Sakura was hovering over Naruto while Shizune was checking her over. She's something, isn't she? Anko turned to see Tsunade had joined her. I knew that before she became as she is now, Anko said, and was quiet now. What are we going to do now? Tsunade sighed. Back to the hotel, and then we'll head back to Konoha. All of us? Anko asked. I can't become Hokage and look out for her if I'm not here. Tsunade said. What changed your mind? Anko asked. Tsunade gestured with her hand. She did. Was all the Sanin said, not elaborating, but her honey-colored eyes not leaving the blonde girl being tended. Link break. He slid her into a hole and I lost him, Jiraiya said, rejoining them at the hotel 30 minutes later. Naruto had not woken up, but Anko had plenty to say. Naruto damn near gift wraps him for you, and you can't even forget it. You know how slippery he is, Anko, Jiraiya said. He looked to see Tsunade in her chair with a cold rag over her eyes. Ime? We're going back to Konoha tomorrow. You are going to take Kabuto. Splitting up is not a good idea, Jiraiya said. This is not up for debate, Jiraiya. Kabuto is an important prisoner. Get him back to Konoha. I'll be behind you once Naruto is awoke and can make the journey. The Toad Sage looked from the sleeping blonde to the one with covered eyes. This is a bad idea, Tsunade, he said. Yes, and you can tell me so when it all goes wrong. Now take the prisoner and go. Jiraiya looked at her and muttered under his breath before grabbing the bond, Kabuto, and leaving. Sakura had been focused on Naruto getting there and finding the blonde battling Orochimaru a second time had her heart in her throat. I need to get stronger. I can't let her get into situations like this and continue to be useless. Sakura green eyes went to the Sanin and an idea was forming in her mind. On that her inner self was agreeing with. Link break, Konoha. You left them? Jiraiya winced. I was going back after I dropped Kabuto off, and Orochimaru is aware that Naruto no longer has the QB. Again Jiraiya winced. He's been doing that a lot in the last month. Well, and Itachi was in the area as well. I know it sounds bad. Sounds bad? Sounds bad? That fucking is the most understatement I have ever heard in my all those years. And I've heard some doozies from the civilian councils over the years as well, Jiraiya. I'll go right now. If I'm lucky, I can meet them halfway and... No. Jiraiya looked at the old man. No? I need you to do something else. I'll have someone else meet Tsunade and the others and make sure that she returns unmolested further. Jiraiya looked at his former student and wondered what the old man had in mind. She was taking Orochimaru to task. Jiraiya finally said it. At the raised eyebrow, he continued. She was throwing raw chakra around as if it was an element jutsu and she wasn't using hand signs. Hiruzen Saratobi stroked his beard in thought. I'll speak with her when she returns, he finally said. Jiraiya wanted to know what his former teacher was thinking, but that was not going to happen now. Tsunade had taken a shine to her as well. Jiraiya said as he knew the gleam in the old man's eyes and shuddered. The council was never going to see it coming. Link break. Tsunade watched as the whisker-marked blonde performed a series of flips and handstands while dodging kunais from Anko. Are you both insane? Shizune asked from where she was going over the first steps of the medic. This is nothing. You should see them when there are no rules. Sakura said, looking up from her book, but Naruto was unconscious from chakra overload. Shizune said. Sakura shook her head. You need to understand, Naruto is like a battery. She'll run down or overcharge, but she'll be back better and stronger than before. Shizune watched as the blonde gave a dodging and had tackled the snake Sanin, the two rolling around, tickling and laughing. They're not all there, are they? Tsunade snorted. Shizune, you've been sheltered by traveling with me. Ninja as a whole aren't fully sane. It is a defense mechanism we use to deal with the task we are to perform. Sakura nodded. Our former sensei read porn. A friend of mine, sensei, smokes. Shizune had to admit she had been lucky traveling with Tsunade all these years. The laughter stopped and the trio turned to see Naruto and Anko were looking towards the tree with kunais drawn. I'd come out now for be turned into a fish food, Anko growled. Several figures cleared the tree line. Lady Tsunade? The first Master Anbu asked. Dolphin? Naruto called out, since Anbu were kneeling before Tsunade. We have been ordered by the Hokage to be your escorts until you reach Konoha, Dolphin said. Sakura hated the mask as they distorted the voices, but she had a feeling she knew this Anbu very well. I'll take it. Sartobi makes things always difficult for me. No, Lady Tsunade, he said nothing of that sort. Or he doesn't make things difficult for you. We are here in case you run into Orochimaru or Itachi again. Same thing, brat. Naruto cursed. I'm kicking Pervisage in the nuts when I see him next time. Tsunade had nothing to say. She had to agree with the other blonde, as she knew that the current group before the Anbu joined them would have done just fine. We're taking a leisurely pace. We'll be stopping at the hot springs before we head on to Konoha. Tsunade said. Dolphin bowed his head. As you wish. The Anbu went to set out a perimeter and silently watched over the group of women, who the Hokage had left strictly ordered were to come to no harm. Sadly, fate had other plans. Orochimaru growled as he summoned Snake returned, telling him Kabuto had been taken prisoner. Damn that girl, he snarled. He had to admit that the lie she had told him and nearly convinced him, but the fact she was similar to Tsunade had him believing that she was Tsunade's daughter and not the QB brat. She fought nothing like him, and the chakra was different, and chakra was like a fingerprint. It didn't change. So they are trying to pass Tsunade's daughter as the Jinchuriki. No concern of mine, as I will capture her, and after running all my tests, I'll use her for breeding. Lie to me, will they? I'm the greatest of the Sanin, and Tsunade and her daughter will fall into my plans, and I will find where they are hiding the cubist Jinchuriki in all given time. In his hidden lair, Orochimaru laughed and planned. Link break, trade town. Come on, Brad, relax, Tsunade said as she soaked in the hot spring. Naruto was not having a good time. She had offered to stay outside, but the soon-to-be fifth Hokage wasn't having any of it, and had dragged her into the changing room and stripped her down before tossing her a towel. Naruto was in the water, glaring at Tsunade, while Anko and Sakura were relaxing their heads back and eyes closed. Are you sure? Tsunade said as she opened her eyes and looked at the blonde. We're all women here, and the Anbu are on the roaming patrol to make sure that we aren't disturbed. Last Senju said, ignoring the protest from Naruto about her gender. Silence regained for nearly 5 whole minutes before Naruto, being restless, started to mess around with her chakra and was thumped on top of her head. Stop doing that, Naruto. Tsunade said, settling back and enjoying the heat of the hot springs. Naruto rose from the water, towel wrapping around her torso as she scowled at the older blonde. What did you just call me? Naruto growled. Naruto. Tsunade asked with her eyes closed. My name is Naruto. That's a boy's name, and you're not a boy, Tsunade said as she lazily opened her eyes. Now sit back down and enjoy the heat of the hot springs. Naruto. My name is Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki, you big-breasted bitch, and don't you forget it, said the blonde, putting her fist over his towel and clapped hips. The finger flick to the forehead had her skipping across the surface of the hot water 5 times before she being caught by Anko, who scowled. Watch what you're doing. You could have seriously hurt her. The Jonin said towards the now standing Tsunade. None of them had seen her move. Naruto glared at the woman who had flicked her across the hot spring. You didn't like that? Then get my name right. It's Naruto. Say it. Tsunade looked bored as she crossed her arms under her breast. Give it up, brat. You are no longer a boy. You should let go and accept the facts. Tsunade got a look on her face, and I think one of the first things I do when I become Hokage is make your change your name officially. What do you think, Naruto? The scream of rage was the only warning as the blonde rocketed across the water surface, her fist pulled back to punch the older one. Say my name! Say it! Say my name, Grandma! Say my name, you big tits grandmother! Naruto! Sakura and Anko screamed and the blonde was centimeters from connecting with her punch when Tsunade spun lifted her leg. Earth Shaker heel drop! Naruto hit the water and the bottom of the spring, leaving a crater as the water began to drain out. Yes, I think I'll make it official. You are to forever be called Naruto. Naruto Senju. Tsunade reached down and pulled Naruto back up from her head. Orochimaru thinks you're my daughter, so we'll make it official. Are you listening to me? The last was said as Tsunade shook the limp Naruto like a rag doll. I think I hit too hard that time. Tsunade said with a sweat drop. Lady Tsunade, how could you? Shizune said, taking the younger blonde and checking upon her. Anko and Sakura were standing there as the water drained away. Shizune, I just... Tsunade tried to speak, but her apprentice shot her a glare. Just don't. There is nothing you say will justify this. Shizune growled as she summoned the green healing chakra to her hand. Anko glared now. You heard how her life has been. You heard how everything has been taken from her, and you go out of your way to take her name from her, the only thing she has left. Tsunade tried. Naruto had one thing left, and despite her recent changes, her improvement chakra control, a home you had to try and take her name from her. Sakura said her fist was clenched as she was shaking. Naruto groaned as she was awake. Stay still, Shizune ordered. You took one of Lady Tsunade's heel drops. Naruto groaned. Link break. Tsunade watched as Shizune worked on the blonde. What the hell was I thinking? I went about this the wrong way. Stupid. I should have told Naruto about my plan is. Tsunade saw the disappointment in Sakura and Anko's eyes, and as she calmed and she regretted hitting the other blonde. Lady Tsunade, one of the Anbu called from the other side of the wall. Is everything alright? Tsunade growled. Yes, everything is fine. We'll be leaving soon. Tsunade didn't listen to anything else as she went and knelt opposite to Shizune. She looked down at Naruto and who looked up at her wearily. I'm sorry, Naruto. I came up with this plan and went about implementing it the wrong way. I didn't mean to hurt you. The last time you said, that's your idea of an apology. Let me say that you suck at it. Naruto said as Tsunade scowled and Naruto continued. But I'll be the better person and accept it. They were quiet as Shizune worked on Naruto, Sakura and Anko went to get dressed and Tsunade explained her plan. You really suck at it, don't you? Naruto asked as the soon-to-be fifth Hokage finished laying out her plan. I didn't say it was perfect, but with what Orochimaru thought, and we can use that to our advantage, Tsunade said. Shizune had done the jutsu and got dressed after Anko returned, shaking her head and muttering about foolish ideas. Naruto was sitting up when she came back, and Shizune could already tell there had been a discussion made. Get dressed, brat, Tsunade said. We need to get back to Konoha. Link break, Konoha gates. The Anbu moved around the group. Tsunade walked with Naruto and on her right side and Shizune on her left side. Anko was ahead and with Sakura. Halt! The group watched as two Chunins appeared. Anko? Izumo, Kotetsu greeted the pair of eternal Chunins. Team Mitarashi returning with Tsunade Senju, her apprentice and Anbu escort. Lady Tsunade, it is an honor, Kotetsu said, marking it down on the log sheet. My daughter has convinced me to return to Konoha, Tsunade said in a semi-bored tone. Daughter? Izumo asked. Naruto. She participated in the recent Chunin exams, taking the place of Uzumaki, Tsunade said. Both Chunin looked at the top-knot sporting blonde. What are you looking at? Naruto demanded. We need to see Sarutobi and clear up Naruto's ninja status. Tsunade said. Right, Kotetsu said. We'll escort them. The Anbu said as they passed the gate. After they were gone, Izumo turned towards his friend. Daughter? Kotetsu scratched the back of his head. If that's the case, where is Uzumaki? Who knew? This will never work. It will work. Naruto Uzumaki shook her head as she sat next to Tsunade and the third Hokage, listening to the idea that the soon-to-be fifth Hokage had presented to him. What is it you think won't work, Naruto? The third asked. The adoption. It's not that. Naruto said. I can agree to that, but my issue is my name. I don't mind the Senju name, but I will not change my name to Naruto or anything else. My name is Naruto, and that is the only name I will answer to. The blonde said, crossing her arms under her cleavage. It will offer you a lay of protection, and anyone looking for Naruto Uzumaki. Tsunade said, crossing her own arms under her monstrous breast, but was cut off as Naruto shot it down. And everyone already knows. I mean, hello, tune-in exams, Tsunade huffed. With the invasion, I doubt. The village knows. I've been around the whole village for a whole month. Everyone knows my age and my name, regardless of my gender. That is why this will never work, Naruto said, rounding in her chair to face the older blonde while keeping the third in her view. Tsunade looked like she was going to argue with Sarutobi spoke up. Well, it's settled, Naruto. Will be known as Naruto Senju then. The old man signed the paperwork and stamped it with the Hokage seal to make it official. Naruto and Tsunade blinked at how quickly it went. Sarutobi smirked. I've had adoption papers ready for Naruto a long time ago. The council isn't getting a chance to block it. He chuckled as he looked at the two blondes. Congratulations, Tsunade. You're a mother now. It's official. And he looked at the other blonde. And congratulations to you, Naruto. You have an official family. Naruto looked at the old man. I'm not signing that until you do one more thing. And this is not up for discussion. The past and future Hokage listened as the blonde laid out her idea and Tsunade was left wanting a very large and very alcoholic drink. Link break. Anko's apartment. Sensei, Sakura asked as she looked on as Anko sat on the couch hugging Iruka to her. I'm losing her. No, Sensei, Sakura said. Since their dismissal from the Hokage's office after reporting, Anko had become depressed. I am Tsunade's adopting daughter. I am. Tsunade is adopting her right now and she's being taken from me again, and once again I can't do anything. This time I have to smile about it and be happy for her. Sakura had spent time with Anko and she understood how her sensei was feeling, as she had come to learn that Anko was that blonde bundle of energy as family to her. Her thoughts were interrupted by the opening and closing of the door, and Iruka barked as Naruto walked in and dropped onto the couch next to Anko, lashed onto her. Naruto wrapped an arm around her and didn't say a word as Anko fought to control her emotions. Naruto? Sakura began. Sakura-chan, could you make some tea, please? Yeah, tea. Naruto asked as the pink-haired girl went to do so. Anko? Naruto said with a sigh. You need to calm down and talk with me. The snake mistress hiccuped and wiped her eyes with the back of her hands. I'm not leaving you. You're my big sister. Naruto said with a patience she dug into. Anko looked at her as if she was insane. But you have a clan and protection. I couldn't offer. Naruto smiled. And you're going to be a part of that clan. I couldn't leave you behind. You're my big sister. What? Anko asked as she watched the blonde pull out a scroll and placed it before her. Sign it. Anko didn't react to it or read it. Her mind was so conflicted. She felt the blonde shove a pen into her hand and on autopilot she signed her name. Naruto smiled and gave her a hug. Welcome to the Senju clan, Anko-chan. It took a moment for the words to register and she looked at the blonde who was grinning at her. What? Naruto smiled. Silly Anko, you and I are now officially sisters and Tsunade is now our mother. Isn't that great? Anko? Anko. Naruto waited and it looked like the woman she called sister had stopped breathing. Anko? Naruto said. Sakura-chan, Anko's not breathing! Sakura raced from the kitchen to see her teammates standing over their sensei who was seated on the couch. Sakura stepped in front of Anko and slapped her. That got a reaction as Anko leapt to her feet and pulled both teens into a rib-cracking hug. They heard her sob finally voice as she buried her face between them. Family! Finally, I have an official family. A mother and a sister. I have a family. Over and over again. Pink Cat and Blonde shared a look and hugged Anko back, knowing that Jonin really showed her emotions so deeply and knew that Anko had been worried about losing her sister. Link break. Hokage office. Two daughters, Sarutobi said with a smile. Tsunade shot her former sensei look. The brat considered her family, and if it makes the brat happy, who am I to argue? Except the name. Sarutobi said, she's a girl. All these scans show she won't be going back to being a boy. Naruto is a female version of her name. This is one argument we're going to lose, Tsunade. Naruto, in the past month plus, had to deal with many things. Her name is the only thing she still has. Tsunade gave a sigh. Well, at least I don't have to change diapers. They're both grown women. They currently have an apartment, so Urzen said. I want to check up my family estate, see what's needed to be done. Have the pervert rebuild the ward seals. Urzen nodded. I take it you want to move there with your daughters and apprentice? It is livable. If not, I'll find an apartment nearby with the girls. Urzen gave her a smile. What? She asked. Nothing. It's just that you already are thinking of how things affect your daughter. Motherhood suits you, Tsunade. Naruto gave her former teacher the finger and link break. Atop Okagemon, when Jiraiya smiled, his godson turned goddaughter was going to be fine. Tsunade would look after her. He turned his gaze to the horizon, and while the QB might not be a problem, those hunting it were still out there and ignorant of what had taken place. I think I need to talk about this with something, he muttered, making a decision to check on his spy network. Yeah, a training trip. He stroked his chin and wondered how he was going to convince the Hokage and the next Hokage to let him get away with this idea. And to be continued. I hope you liked this part, and if you do, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel. And yeah, guys, this series was abandoned there, but luckily there is a series that continue it, but that is kind of fucked up because in that series, Shira's apprentice is Sakura and Tsunade's apprentice is Naruto. So I'm thinking of making an ending of my own after this, and if you want to, please comment down below, or if you want me to continue that story from there, please also comment down below. So yeah, this is Apollo Uchiha and I'm signing out. Peace.